Welcome to the Bite-Sized Tech News TLDR podcast.
Glad to be here for another one.
Picture this. You're in a rental car in downtown Chicago.
Oh, man.
But worse.
Right. It's pouring rain. You are already 10 minutes late for a massive make-or-break client meeting.
The stress is already building.
Exactly. You are surrounded by these towering skyscrapers that are just bouncing your GPS signal around like a pinball.
And total dead zones.
And you have absolutely no idea which of the 4 concrete lanes you need to be in for an upcoming blind merge.
And the app is just, no help at all.
Right. Your phone is robotically yelling at you to take an exit you can't even physically see.
We have all been there.
The sweat, the panic, it's the absolute peak of modern travel anxiety.
Oh, absolutely.
But today, in this deep dive, we are looking at how that exact scenario is officially being eradicated.
Completely wiped out.
If you are joining us, you know the mission here. We are taking the massive, overwhelming avalanche of tech news and distilling it down to the absolute bottom line.
No fluff. Just what you need to know. Exactly. We are getting straight to the facts, straight to the core mechanics of how things work.
Right.
And specifically, we are looking at what these technological shifts mean for your real-world productivity and your daily workflow as a professional.
Because time is money.
Time is money, and we are here to save you both. So today, we are unpacking an absolute titan, Google Maps.
Yeah, this is a big one.
Specifically, the massive March 12, 2026 update.
It's huge.
We have pulled data from the official Google developer blogs. We've got architectural deep dives from Fast Company.
Great piece, by the way.
It really was. We also have technical specifications from Ars Technica and PC Mag, and feature breakdowns from Mashable.
And we really need to set the scale of this right out of the gate.
Yeah, please do.
Because when people hear, app update, they usually think of a minor user interface tweak.
Right, like a button moved 3 pixels to the left.
Exactly. Or the app got a new dark mode color palette.
Which is nice, but...
But that is not what is happening here. Google is officially calling this the biggest update to navigation in over a decade.
Over a decade.
We are talking about fundamentally tearing down the 17-year-old two-dimensional map paradigm that we have all grown up with.
It's a flat grid.
Right, and replacing it with a Gemini-powered 3-dimensional copilot.
That's a massive shift.
It is a complete architectural, computational, and philosophical shift in how human beings interact with geospatial data.
And that is exactly why we are focusing so heavily on the productivity angle for you, the listener.
Right, because this actually changes how you move through the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This update, this deep integration of the Gemini AI models directly into the mapping ecosystem, it's specifically engineered to eliminate the friction of travel.
Completely.
It's about getting you from point A to point B without burning precious mental energy.
Which is so critical for professionals.
So let's start at the very beginning of any journey. Before you can drive, you have to plan. And looking at the Ars Technica and Google blog breakdowns, it seems we are officially witnessing the death of the traditional keyword search.
Yeah, it is a profound shift in human-computer interaction.
Tell me more about that.
Well, for the entirety of Google Maps' existence, we have been conditioned to speak to the application like a machine.
Oh, totally. Caveman speak.
Exactly. Think about how you use it today. You type in fragmented, caveman-style keywords.
Coffee, near me.
Right. Gas station open now. Cheap parking.
Yeah, we just bark nouns at it.
You use these isolated terms, and then the software spits out a scatterplot of red dots on a flat grid.
And then you're just on your own.
Exactly. The massive burden of synthesizing that information then falls entirely on your shoulders.
You have to do all the heavy lifting.
You have to tap into each individual dot, read the user reviews, check the operational hours.
Look at the blurry photos to guess the vibe.
Yes. And try to cross-reference all of that data in your head.
It's exhausting.
It really is. But what Google has introduced today, prominently placed right near the standard search bar, is the Ask Maps feature.
Ask Maps, okay.
And this completely replaces that archaic keyword search with conversational natural language AI powered by their Gemini model.
Okay, let's unpack this, because I want to look at the specific examples provided in the sources.
They're really illuminating.
They are, and they perfectly illustrate the productivity impact for our listeners. The scenario Google highlighted in their briefing is a lifesaver.
The coffee shop one.
Yeah, you type in or say, my phone is dying, where can I charge it without having to wait in a long line for coffee?
Just think about the mental gymnastics required to figure that out yesterday.
Right. You would have to search for coffee shops, open the profiles to check the popular times bar graph to see if there's a rush.
Which is never entirely accurate anyway.
Right, and then literally scroll through poorly lit user photos, hoping to spot a wall outlet in the background near a table.
So playing detective just to get a charge.
Exactly. But now you ask that single, highly complex question, and the AI processes all those variables instantly.
It's incredible.
Another example from the briefing was, is there a public tennis court with lights on that I can play at tonight?
That's a great one, too.
It is parsing the location, the specific amenity of nightlights, and the operational hours, all from one natural human sentence.
Right. It understands the actual intent.
But I have to ask, how is it actually doing this under the hood? It can't just be looking at a basic spreadsheet of business hours.
No, not at all. You've hit on the exact technical leap that makes this possible.
Okay, break it down for me.
When we look at the underlying mechanics of how Ask Maps achieves this, it comes down to how large language models, or LLMs, process unstructured qualitative data.
Unstructured data. Okay.
Gemini isn't just pulling from a static, neatly organized database of business names and closing times.
Right.
To answer a hyper-specific question like the one about the quiet coffee shop with a wall outlet, the AI is actively analyzing data from over 300 million places globally.
Wow. 300 million.
But more importantly, it is parsing the unstructured text from over 500 million contributors.
So just to clarify for everyone listening, when you say unstructured text, you mean it's actually reading the messy, typo-filled reviews written by real people.
Precisely.
That's wild.
Think of it this way. Structured data is a neat Excel spreadsheet. Category, coffee shop, hours, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Right, easy for a computer to read.
Unstructured data is a 3-paragraph rant from a user named CoffeeLover99 who says, the espresso was amazing, but my laptop died and I couldn't find a single plug anywhere, plus the line was out the door.
Yeah, historically, a search engine couldn't easily index that sentiment.
Exactly. But Gemini uses vector embeddings to actually understand the context and meaning behind human language.
Vector embeddings?
Yeah, it basically mathematically reads those millions of reviews, understands the nuances of complaints about lack of outlets or praise for fast service,
and synthesizes it.
It synthesizes 500 million human experiences in milliseconds to give you a definitive conversational answer.
That is just staggering. And the scope outlined in the Mashable piece goes way beyond just finding a quick cup of coffee.
Oh, it scales up significantly.
You can use Ask Maps to plan complex multi-day itineraries.
Yeah, the road trip example.
Right. They give the example of planning a road trip. I'm headed to the Grand Canyon, Horseshoe Bend, and Coral Dunes. Any recommended stops along the way?
And it doesn't just draw a basic blue line on a map.
No, it acts like a high-end travel agent. It provides directions, estimated times of arrival, and insider tips scraped from that massive community of local guides.
Which is huge for actual planning.
It will tell you exactly where to find a hidden hiking trail off the main road, or how to secure a free entry ticket for a specific park.
Right.
From a professional productivity standpoint, this is staggering.
It really changes the workflow.
Think about an executive assistant or a regional sales rep planning a multi-city tour.
Yeah, they usually spend hours on that.
Exactly. You are no longer spending 3 hours cross-referencing Yelp, Google search, EV charging apps, and travel blogs.
The AI does the heavy lifting.
It does, and it presents a finalized, actionable itinerary. But wait, I have to step in here and throw some skepticism at this.
Okay, well, let's hear it.
Whenever we start talking about an AI acting as an executive concierge and offering highly personalized recommendations, my alarm bells immediately start ringing.
Fair enough. Privacy and accuracy concerns.
Exactly. How does the AI actually know what I like? If I ask it for a dinner spot for a client meeting, is it just guessing based on generic tourist popularity?
It's a very common fear.
Because if it gives me a loud, obnoxious sports bar when I need a quiet place to close a deal, it is actively hurting my productivity. Does it actually know me?
What's fascinating here is how Google is leveraging the localized data ecosystem you have already built within the application over the years.
My historical data.
Right. It is absolutely not guessing. And it's not just serving up the most reviewed tourist traps. Ask Maps pulls directly from your specific historical maps profile. It looks at the places you have searched for in the past, the types of businesses you have positively reviewed, and the custom lists of locations you have saved.
Oh,
The
interesting.
Google blog outlines a highly specific scenario that demonstrates this perfectly. Let's say you tell Ask Maps, "My friends are coming from Midtown East to meet me after work. Any spots with a cozy aesthetic and a table for 4 at 7 tonight?"
Okay, so a lot of variables there. Geography, aesthetic, group size, and time.
Exactly. But here is the magic trick. Because of your historical data, Ask Maps already knows that you consistently search for and visit vegan restaurants.
Wait, really? Even if I didn't say it?
You didn't even mention food in your prompt, but the AI automatically factors your unstated dietary preference into its calculations.
That is wow.
It runs a massive simultaneous equation. It finds a geographic midway point between your current location and Midtown East,
Okay.
filters for the aesthetic requirement of cozy by parsing those unstructured user reviews we talked about, checks live availability to accommodate a group of 4 at 7 p.m., and ensures the menu is vegan-friendly.
That is a staggering amount of contextual awareness.
It really is.
It is taking 6 distinct variables, combining them with your unstated historical preferences, and solving the logistics in one go.
And doing it in seconds.
And what I really appreciate about the bottom line here is how the interface handles the output.
The actionable part.
Right. It doesn't just give you a text response like a standard chat bot and say, here are 3 vegan places, good luck.
Right, that wouldn't be very helpful while driving.
Ask Maps seamlessly pushes you into action. Once it identifies that perfect midway point, you can book the reservation directly through the Maps interface.
Which is so seamless.
You save it to a customized itinerary list, share that live link with your colleagues so they know where to go, and immediately launch into turn-by-turn navigation.
It's brilliant.
It closes the operational loop entirely within the app.
It eliminates the app switching fatigue. You aren't bouncing between a chat window, a reservation app, a review site, and your GPS.
Right, which takes so much time.
But of course, as incredible as that frictionless planning is, it only gets you to the starting line.
Very true.
Once the AI has built this highly personalized itinerary, you still have to physically get behind the wheel, merge onto a crowded highway, and execute the drive.
Right, and that actually brings up the biggest anxiety point for me.
The driving itself.
Getting the plan on my phone is one thing. Executing it behind the wheel in an unfamiliar corporate environment is where the real friction happens.
Absolutely.
Which transitions us perfectly into the visual overhaul. If Ask Maps is the brain of the operation, the new Immersive Navigation is the entirely overhauled visual nervous system.
That's a great way to put it.
As the Fast Company piece highlights, for 17 years we have essentially been staring at a flat, two-dimensional blue line moving across a flat, two-dimensional grid.
It's basically a digital Thomas guide.
Exactly. Now, Google is literally tilting the camera perspective down, revealing a real-time, three-dimensional world that reflects the actual terrain, the physical buildings, and the multi-layered overpasses around you.
And this is where the integration of the Gemini models becomes incredibly computationally heavy.
I can imagine.
Because this isn't just a team of Google artists manually 3D modeling every single building in every city in the world.
Right, that would take centuries.
As the Ars Technica source explains, the Gemini models are actively analyzing fresh, real-world imagery.
Wait, how fresh?
Very fresh. Google takes the billions of panoramic photos from their Street View cars, combines them with high-resolution aerial photographs from satellites, and uses advanced photogrammetry and neural rendering.
Neural rendering, that sounds intense.
The AI takes that flat, 2D imagery and dynamically generates proportional 3D assets on the fly.
On the fly? Wow.
It mathematically understands the spatial reality of the physical environment. It knows the exact width of a specific highway off-ramp, the height of a concrete median, the location of a pedestrian island.
And it maps it all out instantly.
And it builds a live 3D mirror of that reality inside your phone.
And it highlights the absolute most critical details you need when you are driving a ton of metal at 65 miles per hour.
Right. The stuff that keeps you safe.
It shows you the specific lanes, the crosswalks, the traffic lights, and the stop signs. But I have to jump in with a major reality check here.
Okay, hit me.
I'm thinking about this from the perspective of someone actually sitting in the driver's seat.
Sure.
If I am navigating a complex, chaotic intersection in a major city, the last thing my brain needs is a hyper-realistic video game running on my dashboard.
That's a very valid concern.
Wait, isn't adding all these 3D skyscrapers, massive overpasses, and intricate terrain details going to make the screen significantly more cluttered? Won't that visual noise distract me from the actual road?
That is a brilliant question, and it was the exact core design challenge the Google Maps team faced.
How do they solve it?
Fast Company's interview with Paolo Malabia.
Oh, the director of UX on Google Maps.
Yes. That interview addresses this specific psychological hurdle brilliantly. Malabuyo's core philosophy was that this 3D map should absolutely not be photorealistic.
Okay, so it's not like a video game.
No. If they made it look exactly like a high-definition photograph or a modern video game, your brain would be overwhelmed by irrelevant details.
Like the texture of the brick on a building or the reflection in a window?
Exactly. It would be massive visual overload. Instead, they designed it with an abstracted, almost wireframe aesthetic.
Wireframe. Okay, that makes sense.
The buildings are simplified geometric shapes. The goal is to strip away visual noise while maintaining perfect spatial accuracy.
Interesting.
And they measured the success of this using a psychological metric they call total eyes on road.
Total eyes on road. I want to pause and really emphasize that concept for our audience because understanding cognitive load is crucial for any professional trying to optimize their workflow.
Even when that workflow is just driving to a meeting.
Exactly. Cognitive load is the total amount of mental processing power required to complete a task.
Right.
When you are looking at a traditional 2D Mac, your brain has to constantly perform a stressful, on-the-fly translation.
You're doing geometry in your head.
You see a flat blue line hooking sharply to the right on your screen, and you have to mentally translate that flat line into the massive, multi-tiered concrete overpass you see through your windshield.
Which takes deep mental focus.
It takes a split second, but in that split second, your brain and your eyes are off the actual road.
Yes, exactly.
By presenting an abstracted 3D model that mathematically matches the physical proportions of the real world, the screen instantly matches your windshield. There is no mental translation required.
The cognitive load drops to near zero, and your total eyes on road metric goes up.
That is just brilliant UX design.
It is. It's about reducing the friction between digital information and physical reality. And they have introduced some incredibly clever dynamic rendering features to ensure these new 3D elements never become an obstruction themselves.
Give me an example of that.
For example, they built in dynamic X-ray views.
X-ray views, like Superman.
Basically, yeah. Imagine you are driving through a dense downtown area, approaching a sharp curve.
Oh.
If there is a massive 3D skyscraper rendered in the app that would visually block your sightline of the upcoming road layout on your screen, the system automatically detects that obstruction.
And does what?
It turns the building completely transparent.
No way.
You literally get X-ray vision. You can see through the digital architecture to anticipate the upcoming intersection, the lane merges, and the traffic lights hidden around the bend.
Wow. It is a perfect marriage of spatial awareness and safety-first UI design.
It really is.
Okay, so the UI is dynamically hiding things to keep the screen clean. But I have another technical pushback here.
Go for it.
What happens when the underlying technology fails? We are talking about dynamically rendering a 3D world, which sounds incredibly data-intensive.
It is.
What happens when I drive into a tunnel or I hit a dead zone in rural Montana and I lose my 5G cellular connection? Does this whole Gemini hallucination just crash and leave me stranded?
That's a critical limitation to address. And it brings us to the difference between cloud computing and edge computing.
Okay, lay it on me.
Generating these 3D environments from scratch requires server-side power, meaning it relies on Google's massive data centers.
Right.
However, your phone is constantly caching or temporarily downloading the route data ahead of you.
Oh, I see.
If you lose connection in a tunnel, the app seamlessly falls back onto the downloaded vector data.
So it doesn't just go blank.
No. You might lose the dynamic live traffic updates or the ability to ask Gemini a new, complex question, but the core 3D wireframe of your immediate route has already been rendered and stored locally on your device's edge hardware.
Okay, so you won't be left with a blank screen. The app prioritizes the offline survival of the navigation above all else.
Exactly. It keeps you moving safely.
That makes a lot of sense. Prioritizing the localized cache so the map doesn't just evaporate. All right, so we've established the visual clarity of the new 3D wireframes.
Yep.
But navigation isn't just a static painting on a screen, it's dynamic.
Constantly in motion.
It's about how the application paces the delivery of information, how the camera moves, and crucially, how the app speaks to you while you are hurtling down a highway.
The pacing is so important.
Let's dig into the pacing, starting with the camera itself, which the sources are describing as cinematic.
Yes, cinematic is the term Google is using, and it represents a major shift in how the digital camera behaves.
How so?
Well, in the old 2D paradigm, the camera simply hovered at a fixed, rigid 1-to-1 ratio directly over your little blue car icon.
Like a drone locked straight down.
Right. Wherever you went, the camera followed directly above, locked in place. The new cinematic camera is contextually intelligent.
What does that mean in practice?
It constantly zooms in and out depending on your current speed and environment. If you were cruising at 75 miles per hour on a long stretch of open interstate, it pulls back to give you a wider macro context of the route.
Because you're moving faster, you need to see further ahead.
Exactly.
Hmm.
But if you exit into a dense, slow-moving city grid, it pushes in tight to show you micro details like crosswalks.
That's smart.
But the most crucial update is how it handles turns.
Right, the Ars Technica piece highlighted this, and I think it's brilliant. When you are approaching a complex maneuver, the digital camera actually detaches from your car icon slightly and pushes forward.
It physically looks ahead into the turn.
It essentially allows the driver to see around corners and view the completion of the turn before they even begin to move the steering wheel.
And to guarantee that these subtle camera movements and visual cues actually worked in the most stressful, high-stakes environments, Google didn't just test this in a sterile computer simulator.
Oh, the Fast Company piece outlined this, didn't it?
Yes, in fantastic detail. They tested this against what they call the Platinum route in Seattle.
But the developers have a different name for it, right?
Yeah. Internally, the development team refers to this as the Hell route.
The hell route. I love that. What exactly makes a route a hell route?
They analyze millions of miles of driving data to find out where human beings fail the most.
The pinch points.
Right. They designed a specific, grueling driving path through Seattle that incorporates the 14 absolute most error-prone driving moments.
14 of them. Like, what?
We are talking about 5-way asymmetrical intersections on steep hills, back-to-back highway exits separated by only a few hundred feet,
Oh, those are the worst.
line merges, and confusing multi-lane roundabouts.
The stuff of nightmares.
Literally.
Yeah.
These are the exact physical locations where historical data proves drivers consistently panic, make the wrong choice, and miss their turns.
So they just drove it over and over.
The UX team drove it, filmed their eye movements, tracked their thrust levels, tweaked the 3D interface, and drove it again and again until the new UI actually mitigated those 14 critical failure points.
That is dedication to the user experience. And while they were refining the visual interface on the hell route, they also completely overhauled the auditory experience.
Thank goodness, because that needed an update too.
Because, let's be honest, half the time we aren't even looking at the screen, right? We are relying on the voice in our ear.
Totally.
Charles Armstrong, the product manager for Google Maps, gave an interview noting that they are actively eliminating the robotic, repetitive jargon that we have all grown so frustrated by.
It was so bad.
Think about the old system. If a highway had multiple overlapping state and local names, the GPS would robotically read out every single one.
In 500 feet, keep right for Interstate 95 North, also known as the Cross Bronx Expressway, state route.
Exactly. It created a wall of unhelpful auditory noise right at the exact second you needed to make a split-second life or death lane change.
The worst timing.
Now they have implemented natural voice guidance.
It's a massive improvement in cognitive ergonomics.
How does it sound now?
The system now speaks to you much more like a human passenger sitting in the seat next to you.
Oh, I like that.
Instead of an overwhelming string of official highway designations and distances in feet, the voice guidance uses relational landmarks and conversational pacing.
Give me an example.
It will say something contextually aware, like, go past this first exit and take the next one for Illinois 43 South.
Oh, that is so much better.
Or, take a right at the next stoplight, just past the gas station.
Using landmarks. That's how real people give directions.
It references the physical environment relationally, warning you about the decoy exit before your actual exit. It gives you permission to ignore the immediate distraction.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Let's bring this all the way back to the absolute bottom line for a professional navigating their workday.
Yeah, let's look at the real-world impact.
Think about the cascading, disastrous impact of missing a confusing highway exit in a city you don't know.
It's a domino effect.
You miss the exit, The system takes 30 seconds to recalculate. It dumps you onto a congested, unfamiliar local road with stoplights every block.
And suddenly you're late.
Suddenly, a minor 2-minute detour compounds into a 20-minute delay. You arrive late to the client site, you're sweating through your shirt, your heart rate is elevated, you are stressed, and your professional credibility takes a massive hit before you even shake their hand.
It really sets a bad tone for a meeting.
The combination of this new cinematic camera looking ahead, the 3D spatial awareness of the wireframe buildings, and the natural voice telling you to confidently skip the first exit and take the second. This is not just a neat tech demo or a convenience feature.
No, it's highly functional.
It is a direct productivity safeguard. It is literal risk mitigation for your professional schedule.
And that concept of risk mitigation extends directly into how the new Gemini system handles live traffic data and rerouting.
Oh, right, the traffic updates.
We really have to look at the sheer computational horsepower running quietly in the background here.
Lay out the numbers for us.
According to the data provided, Google Maps is currently processing 5 million traffic updates every single second.
5 million a second.
Yes. It is continuously integrating 10 million daily driver contributions regarding sudden crashes, speed traps, and pop-up construction zones.
That is an unbelievable fire hose of data.
But the revolutionary part isn't just the data collection. It is how the system communicates that data back to the driver. It now actively explains the trade-offs of its routing decisions.
This is huge, because in the past, the app would just suddenly flash a new route on the screen and bark, route recalculated, save 2 minutes, and you had to blindly trust it.
Even if it was routing you through a sketchy neighborhood or a complex toll system you weren't prepared for.
Exactly.
We are seeing a distinct philosophical shift from the app being a GPS dictator that demands blind obedience to a conversational co-pilot that presents options and rationale.
I love that.
If the system detects a massive pileup ahead and suggests an alternate route, it won't just force you to take it.
What does it do?
The natural voice guidance will tell you there's a 20-minute delay ahead. This new route is 3 miles longer, but it avoids tolls and heavy traffic.
It gives you the context.
It treats the driver like an intelligent partner. It gives you the contextual intelligence to make your own informed decision based on what you value in that specific moment.
Which could be saving time, saving money on tolls, or just avoiding the stress of bumper-to-bumper braking.
Exactly. The death of the GPS dictator.
The death of the GPS dictator. I absolutely love that framing. All right, so the AI has planned your perfect trip. The 3D wireframes and cinematic camera have guided you flawlessly through the highway interchanges, and the conversational co-pilot has navigated you around a major traffic jam.
Smooth sailing so far.
Which brings us to our final and arguably most frustrating operational hurdle.
The destination itself.
We have all experienced this nightmare. You drive 45 minutes on the highway perfectly, zero stress, and then the most anxiety-inducing part of the entire commute begins.
The last 500 feet.
The last 500 feet. You are physically on the correct street, but you are creeping along at 5 miles an hour, squinting at tiny brass numbers on buildings.
Trying to figure out where the actual door is.
Right. You don't know if the entrance is facing the main avenue or hidden in an alleyway, and you have absolutely no idea where you are legally allowed to park your rental car without getting towed.
The final stretch is notoriously the weakest link in digital navigation. You've successfully traversed states, only to fail at the front door.
It's infuriating.
Google is aggressively targeting this vulnerability with this update.
How so?
As you approach your final destination, the application will now dynamically transition to provide highly localized arrival logistics.
Arrival logistics, okay.
Because it has integrated that Street View data, it will actively show you photo previews of the specific building you are heading to as you pull up.
Oh, that's incredibly helpful visually.
It overlays digital markers to highlight the exact physical entrance of the building on the map.
No more guessing.
It clearly dictates which side of the street your destination is on, so you aren't trying to blindly cut across 3 lanes of traffic at the last possible second.
And what about the parking?
And perhaps most importantly, it actively recommends nearby parking solutions based on historical availability and proximity to that specific entrance.
It is the ultimate mile completion strategy. It is designed to carry you seamlessly from the highway off-ramp into a legal parking spot and literally point you to the front door of the lobby.
It really closes the loop perfectly.
Now, we need to transition to the hard facts regarding how you actually get these features on your device, because the rollout strategy here is highly segmented.
Yes, it's not all at once.
We are looking at a staggered release schedule across features and geographies. For Ask Maps, the Gemini-powered conversational AI that kills keyword search that is rolling out today, March 12th, simultaneously in the US and India, for both Android and iOS mobile devices. Desktop implementation is slated for later.
Okay, pretty broad for Ask Maps.
However, for immersive navigation, the massive 3D wireframe and cinematic camera overhaul that is rolling out today exclusively in the US. Over the coming months, Google says it will slowly expand to iOS, Android, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and vehicles with Google built directly into the dashboard.
Quite a different approach.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. Why the massive discrepancy in the rollout? Why is Ask Maps able to hit both the US and the massive Indian market simultaneously across multiple mobile platforms, while the 3D immersive navigation is heavily restricted to a US-only phased release? Is it just a business decision, or is there a technical limitation at play?
If we connect this to the bigger picture of global network architecture, it becomes a fascinating masterclass in understanding the difference in computational scalability.
Okay, let's get into it.
Ask Maps is fundamentally a text-based natural language processing system.
Right, it's just words.
Yes, it is using a brilliant LLM to parse reviews, but at the end of the day, it is querying databases and outputting text strings and standard 2D map coordinates.
Which doesn't take much bandwidth.
Exactly. That kind of text-based data parsing is highly scalable across global server infrastructure. India and the US represent two of the largest, most data-rich, and highly engaged markets for Google, making them ideal parallel launchpads for a highly scalable text model.
That makes sense for Ask Maps.
Immersive navigation, on the other hand, is an entirely different beast.
Because of the 3D rendering.
Precisely. Immersive navigation requires the Gemini models to dynamically generate complex 3D spatial environments from localized Street View data in real time.
That sounds heavy.
It requires massive, highly localized geographical rendering power. Furthermore, it requires a hyper-accurate, recently updated visual database of every single physical intersection, crosswalk, and traffic light.
Because the stakes are so much higher.
Exactly. If the AI hallucinates a text review about a coffee shop, you might be slightly annoyed.
Right.
If the AI hallucinates the layout of a 5-lane highway merge in 3D, is a massive safety liability.
Yeah, that's a literal car crash waiting to happen.
Ensuring the absolute safety, accuracy, and latency of that 3D generation is exponentially more difficult than rendering text. Hence, Google is utilizing a highly controlled, phased, US-first rollout to monitor how the rendering handles real-world edge cases before expanding globally.
That makes perfect sense. The processing demands and the safety liabilities of real-time 3D generation are in a completely different stratosphere.
Completely different ballgame.
Okay, as promised, we are keeping this deep dive fast-paced and strictly focused on what you need to know to optimize your day. Let's pull all of this together and hit the 3 major takeaways you need to remember from this massive paradigm shift in Google Maps.
Let's hear them.
Number 1 is the revolution of AI itinerary planning. Ask Maps completely kills the traditional keyword search. It transforms hours of tedious multi-tab research into a single conversational prompt.
A huge time saver.
By synthesizing unstructured data from 300 million places and understanding your hidden historical preferences, it radically boosts your trip planning productivity. You go from searching for dots on a map to commanding an executive concierge.
Spot on.
Number 2 is the massive reduction in cognitive load. Immersive navigation shift from a flat 2D line to a 3D wireframe world is a psychological game changer.
It really is about brain power.
Features like X-ray transparent buildings and a cinematic camera that actually detaches to look around blind corners are explicitly designed to stop you from doing mental gymnastics. The screen matches the windshield, keeping your brain focused and your eyes on the road.
Total eyes on road.
And finally, number 3, smarter logistics. With natural voice guidance that speaks to you like a human co-pilot, actively explains routing trade-offs, and provides end-of-trip arrival data that pinpoints building entrances and parking garages, the system is engineered to entirely eliminate the arrival anxiety of that final 500 feet of your commute.
It's a really comprehensive update.
It really is.
And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final, slightly provocative thought to consider the next time you plug a destination into your dashboard.
Okay, I'm ready.
We noted earlier that Google Maps is currently processing 5 million live traffic updates every single second.
Mind-blowing number.
It is using the Gemini AI to calculate complex trade-offs, dynamically reroute individual drivers, and simultaneously direct thousands of distinct vehicles toward optimal parking garages and efficient lanes.
Right.
We are rapidly approaching a threshold where the AI isn't just passively navigating traffic. It is actively choreographing the complex, real-time physical movement of entire human cities.
Like a conductor.
It is managing the flow of the metropolis. And if we become entirely reliant on a 3D co-pilot that literally sees around corners for us and tells us exactly which lane to be in before we even see the exit, do we eventually lose our own innate spatial awareness?
Oh, wow.
At what point does the ultimate productivity tool become a cognitive crutch that we can no longer navigate the physical world without?
That is an incredible, slightly terrifying question to chew on the next time you fire up your GPS. Are we navigating the city, or is the city navigating us?
Something to think about.
That is all the time we have for today's deep dive. We promised you the bottom line on this massive tech shift, and we delivered. Make sure you check out the Tech News TLDR YouTube channel for our daily video updates of the tech news you absolutely need to know to stay ahead in your profession. Stay productive, stay safe on the roads out there, and we will catch you on the next one.